This is an awesome problem to have. Be basic, switch one line, be basic, sign it,
Like well, like here tonight. So go ahead, please find a seat. We pull up in one table from here. So let's have a little bit of a change here tonight. Our speaker, Marshall, has a regular reason travel to get home. So we're going to let him speak first, right after we take care of the pledge of allegiance. So if everybody rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm Marshall Warren, Horticultural Extension Agent here. Seth and I work together. Seth does the commercial vegetables and consumer vegetables, and I do a lot of fruit stuff. So that's what you're going to see tonight's presentation on fruit stuff. And,
Marshall, can you put the microphone?
I'll deal with this right. And so tonight I'm going to show you a lot of fruit stuff. And my background is I had residential design installation business for about 30 years. And so this is more about a little bit about design and using plants. And then y'all beekeepers and know about honeybees. I may read a little about honeybees. I love honey bees. And but this presentation is on pollinators, which honeybees kind of tag along with that too. So we have over 500 native pollinators here in North Carolina. And, and honeybees is not native, as y'all know, but, honeybees can also pollinate a lot of these flowers, so, the presentation, you can see dead roots, and obviously I like dead roots. And dead roots has been growing pollinator gardens and stuff, but she's authority on that. She's had a county. So I've actually taken 3 different presentations and kind of combined them, parts of it, and combined them into this one here. And she's a really good photographer, so we see a lot of plants and pollinator plants, and I talk about how to design with those, and she has at the very end, we'll have how to design a pollinator garden, exactly. Now, I've got some handouts over here, and I know not everybody would want to utilize this or use it, but if you're interested in adding more pollinator plants to your garden and making it pretty and attract other pollinators in addition to the honeybees can benefit too, I have 3 handouts up here. So one of them is the top 25 native pollinator plants from North Carolina. It's got some resources on the back, and there are other ones that are nearby, like the based in Shadow County. There's several nearby. There's a lot of nurseries around here that have some of these things too. And a lot of this emphasizes the plants I'll show, the native ones, but there's a lot of other plants that have flowers that are pretty, that honeybees can utilize and native bees can utilize. And an example in my yard, I've got huge hedgerow of Nellie Stevens holly, and it's about 25 feet tall. And so honeybees love that. It's just, when they're full of bloom, it's a holly. So most people might not think, hey, I don't think hollies to attract honeybees. But they love it. And so it doesn't have to be all native plants. And I've got, if you're interested in designing a window garden, native or pollinator type garden, here's some instructions on some steps to do or to consider, and how to make it pretty and all that. And then Debbie also, Bruce has a handout that has different combinations of plants that are attractive, and these are listed out. And so if you want these, I've got about 20 copies, and if you need additional, I sent those to Sid, and you can print some extras if all of these are taken. So I say, giving David Bruce credit for all of this, but I put it together. I rearranged it a little bit. So when you're designing a garden for pollinators, it's good to have a diversity of flowers, not just when they bloom, from spring until fall, but also different types of flowers, different sizes of flowers. Some are small, some are long tubes and so forth, and different pollinators are attracted to certain flowers. And sometimes pollinators come out at certain times of the year. You build a bee hotel out there for native bees, and they're all different size holes that the bees can put their eggs in there, and they'll come out pretty soon. And so some of them are very specialized. And only come out at a certain time, and only pollinate certain flowers, and others are more generalistic that they can pollinate. I think the bees are more generalist type pollinate. So you plant a diversity of flowers. You can see in the photos here, all these flowers are different. Some are tubers, some are large, some are small, different colors, and all that. So, and you've got real tiny pollinators. There's some out there in the hotel. There's little holes, real small. You'd be surprised. It's like a sweat bee. It's on the flower there. You've got some much time to it. You may think of pollinators as bees, but butterflies and moths are good pollinators too. Bumblebees, pollinators. You see that flower is that bumblebees go in there, and some of these have long tongues and they have short tongues. flowers here. Some have short tongues, different flowers are designed for reading. Another thing to consider is when you're designing or planning a pollinator type garden, is to group a lot of the same things together. And also have three to five species blooming during each season, spring through fall, so you'll have a long blooming time for different pollen and also the nectar available for the pollinators to take. So the advantage of grouping a lot of same plants together is visually pretty, but it's also very efficient for pollinating. They don't have to fly 100 feet to go pollinate something they've got it all right there. You know. But it helps with efficiency and don't have to spend so much energy. And again, providing interest year round, in the spring and in the fall, and seasonal interest. So these are things that bloom in the fall, and you can also, in the wintertime, the seed heads and other things and stems are available that the pollinators can nest in or whatever. And in your garden, you've got winter interest too. Whether it's stem color or very few things flowering in the dead of winter, but try to create things interesting year round, not just have azaleas all in the garden, everything that's good in the spring, and it's kind of there the rest of the year. Try to have an interesting year round. So another thing to consider is planting multiple species of the same plant, basically, same genus. And that can extend a living example like asters. You've got different types of asters. All these are asters. So everyone's a little bit different. They bloom at a different time. And these usually bloom in the fall. So that helps extend the pollinators in the fall. And like goldenrods, many different species of goldenrods out there. They all look different. They're white and yellow and bloom at different times. But it's mainly in the fall that you come off different times. And milkweed, many different species of milkweed that flower, pollinators and butterflies. And there's certain structure plants that's always good to have in your garden, and these landscaping with a plant, flower color is not just the main thing. Flowers are short-lived. You try to have a foliage color and a structure that provides interest year round. So try to have some workhorse plants. So the workhorse plant is designed for long-term color, whether it's foliage color, flower color, or some sort of interesting thing about it. And the last 3 seasons, so it has a long bloom period, and it can provide food and shelter for pollinators and wildlife. And it has a good fragrance, or nice feel, nice foliage texture, bold foliage, or variegated foliage, whatever. And seasonal interest, it has a real pretty fall color, interesting bark, pretty seed heads with berries, and the birds love berries. So I mentioned the Nellie Stevens holly. In the spring, when the flowers are, it's one of the earliest things, the flowers and the leaves are out there. And then now in the fall, the red berries on it, the birds are just, I mean, I've got thousands of birds in my garden just eating these berries and stuff. And I think they truck parked under the trees. I can show the evidence of that. Also parked out in the parking lot shows the evidence of these too, but I don't complain about that. Anyway. So another workhorse is what here called Blue Star. And you can see the flower color. It has this feathery green foliage and seeds on it. And then in the fall, it has a nice golden color. So that's a long time attractive plant. You also got wild indigos, the baptistas. You see the pretty flower spots on that, and the foliage looks good. It's a nice shrub. And then the seeds that are seed pods that are on there are very interesting. Or even the shrub, oak-leaf hydrangea, native hydrangeas. And they attract the pollinators, and then the flowers dry, and they have a nice Dry flowers, we use them in arrangements, they're pretty reddish fall color. So, there's a lot of different plants out there. To attract bees and so forth. Now, these are some of our favorite pollinator plants, and we'll run through these real quick. And this, and this are like spring, summer, and fall. There's a lot of different things. There's probably things like 60 or some that grew real fast. So these are spring blooming plants. So we've got the indigo, the wild indigo, Baptista, and many different colors on that. You've got this creamy yellow, lavender. You see the bees really like that on the bees. And, white indigo, so numerous indigos that many different colors that they have on that. Also, we got downy wood mint. Lots partial sun, part shade, we're showing seed heads. You can see how that looks in there with in the background. We've got that sleepy of the milkweed. It has pretty seed heads on it, also flowers. Blue star, I mentioned before, they have sun. It's 2 to 3 feet tall around. There's different species of blue star too. You can consider flowers and so forth. Purple coneflower, one of the easiest things to grow. I've got numerous ones of these in my farm, and they just seed out, and wherever they seed out, I just let them go. They're just beautiful and easy to grow. And this flowers from spring through summer too. And sometimes you'll see a caterpillar in there that's usually a butterfly caterpillar, might be eating leaves on different things, especially little leaves. It's a combination of coneflower with a blazing star. Stokes aster, we're allowing the flowers kind of a low gold plant about a foot high. Evergreen foliage. Gaillardia, once it's established, it likes dry places, full sun, and it flowers for a long time. It's first in the spring, and it'll continue blooming through the fall. And the different colors, ones of those too, so it's another Gaillardia plant, flower and yellow. And that's mixed here with it's the purple one mixed with the rudbeckia and the Salamango goldenrod. So that's in the fall. So it starts in the spring. It's a long winter. So that's what we do with that. You got bee balm. Many different types of bee balm. One of the things about bee balm is that if you plant it, you may want to plant it in a container in the ground. And so because it'll spread it up, and maybe every 3 or 4 years, you might need to leave it up and kind of contain it. But if you've got big enough areas, let it spread. It's real pretty. And it's real good pollinator. Many different types of bee balm, bee balm. So one that's real pretty like that here, favorite race. Penstemon, the beer tongues. Tubular flower, this one that have organ foliage, which is real pretty. I said, not just the flower, but the foliage is good. So there's one cluster's red, the foliage is purple red. So even the flowers are not there, you've got foliage that looks good in the garden. And a nice ground cover, golden Alexander, Caesar. They kind of form a little mat in the ground and sends up these little yellow flowers that look like almost like Queen Anne's lace. And the bees really like that. And there's also the caterpillars that eat its foliage. New Jersey tea. This plant here is, I have one in the garden out there with the front parking lot, and I had never seen a plant with so many pollinators on it. They were just like on a trunk. I mean, there's thousands on this one plant. And I found out later that it's kind of a short-lived plant. It's kind of hard to find in the nursery. If you get one of these in the garden, you will not believe how many pollinators will flock to that New Jersey tea. And it flowers are right good types. All these are spring flowers, of course. You're showing spring flower. All right, now we're moving into the summer, top 25. Milkweed milkweed, I really like this one, the Speaker tuberosa, the orange color, thing like that. It's more controlled, it doesn't spread like many other milkweeds. And, the butterflies really like that. Some of these butterflies, they have to have the milkweeds to eat the foliage, to be part of their, that's the host plant for monarchs, so you gotta have some milkweeds in there if you want some monarchs. You got the swamp milkweed. This is one you might need to contain because it'll venture all over your garden, just for fruit. Like I said, this one here, the orange one here, the tuberosa, this one's kind of straight fruit. This one here is the one you move around. It's a little bit taller. And the milkweed, let's see now, it's a red one, milkweed, many different types. Common milkweed. And this is a flower, the hyperion. This is like a shrub, 3 to 4 feet around, and it's deciduous shrub. Many of the nurseries grow these, and so that's good to mix in if you want a little structured type plant. And the flowers for a pretty long time. It has these little buds on here. There's one variety that these buds here are red, and then flowers up in yellow. So that's pretty neat. Many different kinds. We also have a ground cover there from St. John's Wood. Lobelia. See how those grow. Lots of plant to have. Am I going too fast? Blazing star, liatris, it's these nice flower spikes on it. You get 3 feet or more. Butterflies over the pollinators. Round snake master. This is pretty interesting. You see the scientific name in Johnston first one. You got the folder. The folder looks like a nut, but it's not pointed. And it has these spikes that come up, and it has these little coronavirus looking flowers on it. And the bees really love that stuff. And it's amazing. It's a nice, interesting structure plant to have in the garden, and maybe have some other lower growing things that kind of pops up with these spikes in the summer. Now, I usually like to recommend that you can see, which is easy to do that, and it's not too prolific to see. Called rattlesnake master. Mountain mint. We're pretty. I like this because the foliage is kind of a metallic or fuzzy. It's fuzzy and it's got that light blue fuzzy metallic look. And so even when it's not flowering, it looks pretty cool. And, so when you put flowers, you got these nice little white flowers there. You can, mix that with other plants and see how the color arrangement is there. This button bush, cephalanthus. This is almost like a little tree. 6 to 10 feet tall. I recommend cutting that back hard each year and let it come out and you have more flowers on it. There's one called fiber optics, which is a little bit smaller, and the flowers are profusely. So there's really a parking lot out there. If I didn't cut it back, it would be pretty tall. But the butterflies and the pollinators really love this thing. Anything that's flowering, they just really are attracted to it. Colorless root is these little pretty light blue flower spikes, but it can be pretty tall like flowers, so you can have that on the back of your garden. These really like that. You can see how it's intermingled with the purple coneflower. It's a nice, that's a really there. All these are some that we're talking about. Joe Pie weed. It's pretty tall. Doesn't really have the back part of it. We're getting more 4 to 6 feet tall, and it'll kind of spread out over time. And there's some shorter ones out there too. You can see the butterflies really love it. With the trunk on it, they're really attracted to it. Then we go into fall blooming. the thing about, it's good to have a lot of the summer, flowering things in your garden, because I understand that in the summertime, it's a first time that there's not much for the bees to eat, so if you get, have flowers year round, and also especially in the summertime, you have some food sources for them. And in the fall, onset, 4 to 6 feet tall, has these white flowers on it, that leaves really light. And some of these things we have a master garden plant sale on April 12th, Clay Community Center. And so some of these things will have available there if you're interested in getting some of these things. Bee balm, this is the native bee balm, Menorrhagia. I was in Colorado, and that's an interesting flower. See here or something else in there. The asters, so these found in the fall, many different types of those. Aromatic aster, Eastern silver aster. And there's also another aster, climbing aster, which I have in the garden out there. But you can let it be a shrub. The goldenrods. Notice we have allergies. This is not causing a problem. So that is causing that, even though the goldenrods are blooming at the same time the ragweed is pronounced, you get the blame that your nose is running and all sweaty and you've got allergies. So the reason that this doesn't produce allergies is because the pollen is so heavy, it falls down instead of floating around in the air. So rough goldenrod. That white goldenrod, and there's no type of goldenrod called fireworks, unless we them with fruit. Now, ironweed, I really like this plant. It can get pretty tall, it has woodward flowers on it, out here. I tell you what, that thing seeds out everywhere. So if you plant that, if you don't want it to seed everywhere, cut the flowers off before it produces seed and before it, the seed everywhere. So here's the common aster. So that one is it's a mountain. So if you want to climb something, you can make it climb, or you can just plant it and let it prune it and then be like a shrub. This thing flowers all fall. It's real pretty. A lot of little flowers. Now, here's an example of designing a pollinator garden. And, so, like I said, I've got instructions on that. So this is an example where you've got maybe 16 feet by 20 feet. So things to consider. Consider the shape of it, the size, and the location. Most of these things want full sun if possible. Soil moisture, exposure, and how is it going to be viewed? When I went into a home to design, a lot of times I would go inside the home and see what the windows, what you would look out at. A lot of times I'm at the kitchen window. That's usually where people are looking out, and I want to design something pretty there. And so maybe you have a situation that looking at your kitchen window and want to look at something pretty, maybe make something nice. And consider site characteristics, sun exposure, soil, and I always do a soil sample. So April 1st, soil sample free, so you have no excuse. But go ahead and get the soil sample in. We've got the boxes here. You don't need boxes. You can put it in a Ziploc bag, bring it here, and fill it out, put it in the boxes. So you don't have to make two trips. And once you get a soil sample back, amend the soil. I don't like compact the soil, amend the soil with compost, more fines. You put a garden, just till all that in. And first cure any noxious weeds that you may have there. If you got maybe grass there, you need to kill that, otherwise you'll have a missing garden. Especially perennial weeds, be sure to kill those first way ahead of time, and then amend the soil And then you select, place trees, shrubs, large ornamental grasses, and other dominant favorite plants to just have a structure. So if you, here's an example, you got the 16 to 24, you got, pepper bush, which is a clefra, ornamental grass, switchgrass, and then one of the button bushes. So you place some structure things in there, and you can even add some evergreens. A lot of these things here are perennials and they die down in the winter time. So you don't necessarily look at a bare piece of ground. Go ahead and place some evergreens, some conifers in there. Some other things that give some structure. But some of these, like the clefra, pepper bush, the different ones like that. It's deciduous, but you'll have a structured plant there. So the many different ones, these are ones that are offered here for the Johnston County Nursery. You've got the ruby spice on the left, nice pink ones. This one's kind of interesting with the little twisted and curly ones. Einstein Summer Street is the trade name on that. And you got a nice companion called hummingbird. The foliage on that is really pretty. Have a little green foliage, a little more companion called hummingbird. So, but the clefra, these will get fairly tall. And then the ornamental grasses, switchgrass, panicum, these are the native grasses. Or there's heavy meadow, it's more upright, that dark blue foliage, and the Dallas blues. And then the one on the right, shenandoah, the tips of the growth is red. So, that when that comes out, that gives you a long color, from a very kind of reddish foliage. And then in the fall, you have the plume and seed heads. And now this, you see the seed heads of this Dallas blue here. When I saw that plant, I said, oh man, I love that thing. So I bought one that put it in my backyard garden, and it grew, and it was beautiful. Next year, I had so many little seedlings coming up. Oh my gosh. So I got my back to it, I dug it out and do it. But then I have beside that one more queen, which is these very upright ones, and it does have seed heads. And I cut some of this off, but it is not as aggressive as a cedar. It doesn't seed out as bad. Maybe have 3 or 4 little seedlings to it. That's really good. Thousands of the other one, no way. But I kept this in my garden. I really like it. So more things are good. Or even the shenandoah, I'm not sure about that. Try and see what you think. One of the things about plants, you don't like it, dig it up, get rid of it, and try something else. It's not concrete in the ground. But if you plant a tree or something, you need to think about that way ahead of time. That's more of a public type thing. So these perennials and grasses, just go ahead and move them around. Change them up if you want. This is the button bush, which I mentioned about the fiber optics. You see how small and more compact that is, and it really blooms profusely. So those are some of the structural things that you want to get started. So I had mentioned about trying to have 3 to 5 groupings around, and then with different perennials and space them. I've got a handout for plant combinations where you want to put certain things close together, maybe the colors combine well, they contrast, and they make a nice combination. So we can create layers in the garden, short, medium, tall. It doesn't have to go, short, medium, tall, but you can have mixtures in there. And like I said, add some evergreens and other things. Consider the textures and foliage color and color combinations and things like that. So you got your structured plants in there, and let's go ahead and put some spring plants. So in this case, the coneflower, which will move in the spring into the summer. The indigo, wild indigos that bloom mid-May to mid-April to mid-May. Golden Alexander, on the ground cover, blanket flower, Stokes Astra, and then more flowers. They got different colors of flowers now. So place your spring flower things in there. All right, then we come to summer. So like I said, you want interest year round. So we're adding the summer in there. So the coneflowers are still blooming in the summer. The plethora of the pepper bush start blooming. That's your structure, right? You got seashore mallow. There's a picture of that, but that's nice blue flowers all that. Red rose mallow in there, politic seed, which is coreopsis. Mountain mint. Got swamp milkweed, blanket flower. So you can Joe Pye weed in there. So you see, start putting your summer things in there, so there's still more space. All right. You got politics, which is the coreopsis. There are some coreopsis that are short. Put it in the front. You want to put something short in the middle or back, maybe covered up. So just think about how high it's, and then the spacing of the plants. You got to, like the end of the here, you know, that's got a pretty big circle. The button bush, like I said, that probably give it 6 or 8 feet diameter. Don't put anything right there next to it. You might have little pots you put out equally spaced, and think about how big that plant grows. And then space it accordingly. Then start putting in some of the fall plants. We've got bee balm added in there, ironweed, asters. So start adding some of those fall plants in there. Goldenrod. So those are the ones that bloom in the fall. Some of these things are left in the summer and bloom in the fall. And then you see there's still some spaces in there. So then you can play around with some filler plants. So we've got some of the short native bunch grasses that we can put in there. Let's see. My mind's been vanished through plants out there. We've got calamine, mountain mint, blue star, blazing star, blue rain, some milkweeds, ornamental, flowering spurs, bee balm, nottingham, monset, all anemone, crocuses, flower regular, blue ash, tree, goldenrod. So other things that you can start putting in there. So these are the fillings. So we've got blue stars in there, got a little blue stem, that's the little blue stem, that's the little ornamental grass. Don't ornamental grass, a little blue stem out there because almost like black foliage, which is kind of cool. That I gotta come out of it. Black eyed Susan there. That makes a nice color combination. Blazing stars. So you kind of feel all that in them. So now it's starting to look full. So when you finish it up, you got spring, summer, and fall, and the structure plants in there that make that up. So that's like a ready-made program like Jamie that you can implement it in your yard if you wanted to holiday garden. So these are the plant lists for the spring. You got some wild indigo, gold Alexander, pork flower, gaillardia, Swiss aster, and the filler would be blue small. In the summer, button bush, pepper bush, spectra, rose mallows, hibiscus, coreopsis, mountain mint, rattlesnake master, milkweed, Joe seashore mallow, the blazing star ashes, the filler. And then in the fall, we've got the asters, aromatic aster, eastern silvery aster, golden, rough goldenrod, bee balm, aster, ironweed, switchgrass, tannins. That multiple, that's the one that's more upright. And then the little blue stem, ornamental grass. So basically, what you're trying to do is so create year-round interest. And I have from my background as landscape design. I teach a master garden training class. I tell people that if you're designing something, it's got to be pretty, it's got to be functional, and easy to maintain. Choose plants and design it and that criteria in mind. Pretty functional and easy to maintain. I mean, you know, beekeepers or whatever, you can till up an area in your yard, a row of some kind of row of pollinator plants, maybe you want cover crops. What are some of the cover crops? You have buckwheat or clover, and the honeybees will like it, but you got a straight line of board. Why not make it pretty? And then it's functional by having different plants year round. Interesting. And we do it when it's easy to maintain, like secure the existing weeds, there's special green weeds, do a soil test, amend the soil, and once you get all that planted, mulch it, and that'll help control some of the weeds, and try to make it easy to maintain. So we got questions.
Would you be able to plant some types of vegetable?
If you want, yeah, why not? Yeah, there's kind of raised or trained food taken. You can plant vegetables in and amongst your ornamental plants and perennials and stuff. Some of the vegetables can look nice. Right. A lot of the
So you don't have to like
It doesn't have
crowd
to be-
in with as many plants,
no,
fill up
Exactly.
some of those spaces.
Correct.
for
Yeah.
your seasonal
You can
vegetables.
ground cover with things like, sweet potatoes or cucumbers or watermelon, stuff that gets real viney, and just cover the ground.
That would cost that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, if you have more, then, yeah, you have more. Yeah, just, intermediate with other plants, just some of the, you have cabbage in there, you have nice bold foliage, you can have, Swiss chard, that's like a pretty ornamental, stalks and leaves, you can have lettuce plants in there, you know, whatever, mix it all in, it's just, you got some different color lettuce leaves and stuff, and some of the ground cover, you can plant, some of the, some cucumbers, whatever, squash, lots of old foliage and squash. It's probably helpful instead of having a whole block of certain vegetable plants intermingled with other things. And neighbors can live with it. Yeah, that's a good point. It intermingles with vegetables.
Okay, but a lot of those plants, they're not cheap. Whereas
It'd be,
you
yeah.
you go to your
Yeah.
local nursery and buy the vegetables in a flat or whatever, it's not as expensive as some of those.
Yeah, but a lot of these perennials, so you have to replant them each year. And some of these will grow, and you'll buy them and sell them to the neighbors. They're all like friends. Yeah. Plant seed and restore them. How many are inspired, hey, I'm gonna plant some of these pretty plants in the yard pretty and also benefit, honeybees. Good. I've got some handouts up here that have some of these plants listed and, some hints on what to do with the really different color combinations. It's worth it. You know, did once, look at stuff that's pretty. It was in the environment too, so. Any other questions? All good? Perfect. Right.
Marshall's the person who laid out the hive, horizontal hive area out there, with all the plants and the sidewalk and the concrete slab for our hive. So he's the one who planted that beautiful little area up there.
Yes.
Berries and
Yeah.
things out there.
And I said, I wanted that to be pretty functional and easy to maintain. And, wanted a garden out there that I could teach, how classes out there, and how to clean stuff, and how to grow stuff. Demonstration part. So I think it's a good win-win situation. I thought it was a good idea to do that and make it look nice. Yes.
Thank you.
Handouts up here. Because of
Okay, moving right along, we're going to have some new member introductions. I know there's a few new faces, some faces I've seen before, but I don't know if they've made it to a meeting. For this table, anybody hasn't been here before? Introduce yourself to us.
Hey, gentlemen, evening, my name's Ted, sure, I live up in the area, I'll be starting with Beekeepers, and I'm taking a class over at Johnston County.
Thank you. The next table, anybody new? Haven't been here? Stand up, tell us who you are.
Hi, everybody, my name's Ryan Tucker, spring, I started with the bee school last month, and just getting started with my beekeeping journey.
Thank you for that.
He's also a new master gardener volunteer.
Also, it's, and I'm Robert Lee, I'm middle bee with the, yeah. But I'm before, I was part of the Wake County Beekeepers for about 15 years. I became certified beekeeper about 1991. Kept bees for about 20 years, and different things went on. The hive bee was the main thing, and I wasn't able to keep up with my bees. So, trying to get back in it, I sort of want to pursue the master beekeeper program.
Thank you, welcome. Next table, anybody new? Welcome. Anyone else?
Got interested in these.
Thank you all for coming. Moving right along, our bank balance, as of last Monday night at the board meeting was $9,532. And then there's somebody's coming in and there's somebody's going out, so that changes. On announcements, first one, just to let y'all know, the state NCSBA has elections coming up. They said if anybody is interested on having their name forwarded to the membership or the committee, let me know by the end of May. The positions available are president, first vice president, second vice president, recording secretary, and treasurer. Those are one-year positions. And for us, they have a freshman and coastal regional director, which would be a 4-year position. There's some talk, or beyond talk. We're going to have a certification prep class and then a certification test class coming up in May and April and May. For those that might be interested in continuing knowledge or in the Master Beekeeper program. We don't have those dates set yet, but Al and I are working on it. And we want to make sure that we get you through this in May, because after May, we have to wait until July before the new tests come out. They did announce the fall state conference. It's going to be on July 10th, 11th, and 12th in Flat Rock, North Carolina. If anybody's interested, on our website, if you go along under club topics and you click down on vote, we have come up with the idea of the possibility of having a quarterly social event. What we're asking is for folks to vote, do you want it or not? And then if you do want it, we've got a few things like, an ag center potluck, Starlight Eatery and dinner, fishing and potluck dinner, something else. We talked about maybe even having a swap meet, yearly swap meet, where we give some other clubs, if you got extra equipment, or you make something unique that you want to sell. Everybody can have one general location to go look at those things. Just to let you know, there's a new bill that's been put before Congress on the honey trade bill. Been keeping up with that because a lot of commercial honey producers especially, but even us as hobbyists and side owners, we're having to compete with folks who are adulterating honey that's coming in from overseas. And the new bill is going to straighten some of that out, hopefully, so that you won't be competing with somebody that's cut their 50% with sugars and things like that. So when you tell them it's pure raw honey, that's what you get. Okay, swarm season is here. I'm going to ask John if he would to give us just a little how to approach the homeowner and what not to say. We're not looking to do cutouts. Those things require special licensing and permits. So.
Okay, basically, when you answer a swarm call, it's going to be between you and that homeowner. Club's not involved. All we did was be the contact point to get you in contact with that homeowner. If there's a cutout involved, you need to be aware that if you do anything structural, you're going to have a building permit. That's going to have to be inspected. So I recommend that you stay away from cutouts. If it's an old building or something like that, then it's probably between you and the homeowner. But when you go up, think about this. You need to cut that person's limb to get the swarm down. Are you going to get up on a ladder? Think about your safety considerations. And then, are there kids present? That type of stuff. So think through, I understand that, the heat of the moment, we got to get the swarm. But think about safety, think about the neighborhood. And, you're always going to have some stragglers behind. You need to talk to the homeowner about those stragglers. They'll eventually move on or die. But you're not going to get all of these. It's very unlikely. So just emphasize that the club isn't responsible for getting the swarm. It's you as an individual. So, because we're just basically facilitating that contact between the homeowner and the beekeeper. The ag center, production assistant up front gets the call. They notify Adam Pendergrass, and send out the text. You get the text, you respond, hey, I want that swarm. Then he assigns it to whoever provides the contact information. But basically, that's all the club's doing, is forwarding the phone. So keep that in mind. Is there any questions?
When it comes out, do you give any kind of indication that it's complimentary or that?
If there's a picture available, they'll send the picture. They'll tell you as much as they can, what they get,
Usually when someone calls us, they say, I've got a swarm in such and such place that I would like to be removed. Most of the time when they're calling us, it's in a building. Unfortunately, a lot of times it's structural, but we still do get some swarm calls just around properties. And we usually at least try and send out a description of where it's at.
Most of the time they'll ask if they can get a picture, text it to them, and then they'll send out that picture. So, when you signed your membership up, there was a place to select to be on the swarm list, and you should have gotten a text by now. I know there's been one, no? I thought we had
It
one.
wasn't on the list, I think it was one of his,
Do it.
it wasn't a swarm list, it was just a swarm in his house.
Okay,
He sent you and I a picture, that's all.
okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, any other questions, suggestions, comments? Okay, just be careful, because we had an accident over in Wake County that wasn't good for one of the members over there, so, yeah, he fell off a ladder.
How do you handle it if you show up and it's not honeybees?
You just tell them it's not.
recommend-
And just tell them it's not honeybees. I had a call where I went out and looked, and it was a hornet's nest way up in the tree, and I just said,
I didn't know if there was any contacts with the club that does, removal, things like that, that we can recommend or anything. Yeah, that's all. I wouldn't touch it.
no, and, I don't think we want to give them recommended companies for that type of thing. Okay.
Thank you, Joe. The next thing on, we talked about the other night about, we're gonna revamp our B numbers cards. If y'all remember, some little cards got a number of QR codes on it, with state inspectors and things of that nature. We're gonna actually have one side printed, basically with our sign, with our QR code, that anytime somebody sees it, it will take them to our website, the Johnston County. The other information will still be there, but that will put, if you start handing them out, put them in stores, put them on the bulletin board, where you go get coffee in the morning, something like that. It'll get folks out and knowing that last Saturday in February, we're gonna have a base club, if they're interested. It's not the only one, but it will give them a place. And they may want to come join the club and start finding out about bees and beekeeping. Real quick, went to the meeting conference a couple of weeks ago. And while I was there, I got to spend some time with folks from Ashe County and Tocane chapter. Tocane chapter is 3 different counties. Ashe County is actually a county that we were asked with some other counties to help provide them some bees that they lost due to the hurricane. I was a little worried that folks were going to take advantage of it. And that, just folks would take advantage. It turns out, after talking to some of the presidents there, they are watching these people. They are way down on the list if they don't deserve anything. But one thing that got to me, from Tocane, she was telling me about a new beekeeper. Lady lost both her eyes. It's a terrible thing. She was living in a converted school bus with her children. They lost that. She also lost 4 family members because of the hurricane. And right now, that lady is focusing on getting those 2 eyes replaced. That's what she's holding on to. So just think about that. Right now, between 78 eyes, nukes committed. Wake County's coordinating it to go up into the mountains in May. They're looking to get 100. There's still time if somebody wants to do that. If you want to buy a nuke from Al, Midnight, John, and just have it sent up there, that's a possibility if you choose to do that. But it wasn't until they told me that that's what this lady's grasping on to, is getting new bees, that it really made kind of sense that that's how she's dealing with her losses, is she's focusing on this. Others had to come to grips with it yet. Okay,
Rick, on that note, I saw an email
today,
about midnight is, buy nukes. You can buy nukes to go up there for $190.
yes, that, Others in the club may be able to sell them for less and still send them up there. But yeah, midnight you can just straight out and buy one for $190 and they'll send it up there, with all the rest, because they are providing a good number of them. If anybody, and this is not for the new beekeepers, but if you think you can make a split, you're gonna catch some swarms before they have got it worked out that they're providing, they're gonna replace your 5 frames. So you'll get new frames in the place of it. So you're not really losing the equipment, they're gonna provide the boxes for the ship in. Don Hopkins is gonna check them all. And if they don't make the cut, you get your bees back. So it's not like they're gonna set them on fire or throw them in the trash can. So, there's still time to get on that list. If you want to think about it, you get with myself or Al, and we'll make sure folks know what's going on. The mentorship program is up and running. Terry, main guy, do you have anything you would like to talk about?
Thank you so much. You have, the members of this club have responded so well in stepping up and volunteering. And I want to express my appreciation for y'all doing that. And so many, we have had 11 either individuals or families sign up to mentor, and we've been able to match them up with a mentor. If you still are interested in either being a mentor or would like to be mentored, please see me afterwards, and I'd be glad to work with you and see that happens. We're really pleased that our club is putting this together, and we look forward to your success this year. Thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have coming up that we need to think about is the FFA Ag Fest on April 5th. We'll be selling honey. And I will have a sign-up genius go out those days because that's only a couple of 3 weeks away. Also, this Wednesday, we have an open house day. An open house day, a sign-up genius has gone out. If you did not get it, you were not on the list, whatever. 1 o'clock?
Yeah, I'll ask.
Okay, show up and we'll take care of it from there. Next month's topic is going to be on consequences of storm. And with that, we're going to go to our farm report set.
Who remembers my farm reports from the last couple months? Cold. Well, guess what? I can actually say something different this month. So for the most part, the covers on strawberries have been removed. Granted, we still have a little less than 30 days until our last frost-free date. Really and truly give it till about the end of April and I'll believe it. But those are already in bloom. They've started blooming under the covers. Blueberries have started opening up and blooming. And we're not too far away from getting vegetable transplants put in the ground and getting them started. I know tobacco greenhouses have been set and they've started bedding some land for tobacco. They've started bedding sweet potatoes to get slip production. So everything's starting to get into full swing and might actually have some more to say next month. So we'll see if it actually frosts before or after April 11th.
A comment to Seth's report there. Just remember, when the farmers go out those fields and start plowing to put the sweet potatoes in other crops, you're gonna lose your wild mustard and your henbit and those type of things out in the field. Your bees are depending on it. So you may go into a situation where you all of a sudden are in the dirt for a week or two. Just be aware of it, watch it, watch the farm fields around you. Don't get caught.
And there's also time to think about your building, your drip watch. That's where the farmers let you know if they're spraying, supposed to is on Monday. All right, we got Kent Porter's gonna give us our apiary report.
So, we had last Wednesday, we did an open hive, we had a great number of folks show up. Like to encourage everybody, if you can get away, couldn't do one Saturday, wanted to do it Saturday, weather just don't look like it's gonna cooperate with us. Wednesday is the pretty day, I sure hope y'all can get away from work or whatever you're doing and come out and do the open hive. John and I were talking about doing some splits, so to get you a chance to look at us doing some splits and see how actually that happens, right? So a good opportunity to come play in the bees, right? So we want to make sure y'all come and sign up for those. If you didn't get a sign up, genius, it's Wednesday, 1 to 2:30. Wednesday, 1 to 2:30. So put it down. If you did not get a sign up, genius, I'm going to send out a reminder tonight when I get home. And those of you that did not get one, you need to let me know tonight so I can get your information so we can add you to the list. All right? So splits, whatever we can split on Wednesday, we're going to do splits. The bees are looking good.
I want to point out to everybody that Kim and Rick have been carrying the apiary now for well over a year. They've done a good job. I want you to be aware of the extra effort they put into making this happen. Not only being secretary treasurer and president, a lot of work. So, when you have an opportunity to help out the club, just 5 or 6 hours somewhere makes it a lot easier on these guys. So just, let's give them a hand for what they're doing.
They have asked that we clear the auditorium tonight. So anybody that's willing to give us a hand, tables on the floor, so the chairs up. And that concludes the meeting. Remember, we've got handouts up here. From the bee garden.
Thank you.